10 tips you need to know to be prepared for your first day 7 horde. Let's start with the pregame settings. Adjust these settings to your liking. As you are going to enter the game, you can make the game easier or more difficult for yourself. Really what you want to do is whatever is most enjoyable for you. For example, me and my friends typically like to boost up the XP. We do this by increasing the XP multiplier as well as increasing the shared XP range. By increasing the shared XP range, it makes it so that whenever somebody gets XP from killing a zombie, everybody gets the XP. Particularly more useful whenever you are on the day 7 horde night. You can adjust the difficulty settings between one of the 6, which include Scavenger, Adventurer, Nomad, Warrior, Survivalist, and Insane, each of them respectively getting more difficult. From there, you can adjust specific settings such as the zombie speeds at night, either walking, jogging, running, or sprinting. Also, if you feel like you need more time to prepare for horde night, you can increase the day length. However, this does come with a price as your nights are also increased. You should also be careful with your map choice. Everything I stated previously can be changed at any time, but you will always be stuck in the same map. If you are playing for the first time, you should probably try Novice Gain first. If you want to do a random generation instead, which I feel like you can't really go wrong with that, you should still be careful with picking your biomes. I recommend generating with a central forest since that is usually the ideal place to live. Because if you have to get through the trenches to get back home, it's going to be pretty rough. Now for the next tip, when you load into the game, there is a few things you can do from your character's menu. If you are playing with friends, make sure to invite them in the players tab as shown here. You should see a plus sign to add them to your party or as allies. I typically just do both. I'm honestly not sure which one's which, and they should get an invite and have to accept it. On their end, it should look like a little envelope that all they have to do is click on. You can immediately go to your inventory and start clearing space by getting rid of the no and the land claim block. Once you go past the light gray storage blocks and you go to the one where the guy looks like he's struggling to carry that box, know that those will slow you down. So the more you have overfilled, the slower you be and the harder it will be to travel. You can always make a new land claim block later, however the note will be gone forever. It is pretty useless, so if you want to keep it, go ahead, but there really is no reason to. Also in your menu, you are able to get to the challenges under the trophy. The very first actions you should take in the game is completing these challenges on the top row. And from here, that'll actually lead into the next tip. Also in your menu, you're able to get to your specific skills to gain expertise in specific areas. Maybe you want to be better with the sledgehammer and shotguns, or you prefer the stealthier, agile route and want to take on bows and knives. This might be a good point to designate roles to each of your friends if you are playing with them. Maybe you want them to focus on one aspect, such as building vehicles, while another one focuses on building weapons, and another one might focus on mining. Now once that first row of beginner challenges is completed, you will be sent to a trader. And this is probably the most useful tip on this list, and that's to do the quests with the trader. It's important to note that you should complete that last row of quests in a biome that you prefer, because it will send you to the nearest trader and you ideally want to be near where you want to live. Now if you do get a really bad trader, just know that you will be able to go to whichever one. Normally wherever you start off the game is a good point, but if not, try to get to one. Also, if you didn't know, you do have to redeem the quests. They will be marked as green and you will just have to redeem them once they are completed. Just go back to that challenges menu and simply redeem all the ones that are green. Back to the trader, once you do arrive to one, you should begin to do quests with them. These quests will result in great rewards that will likely be better than what you can find looting. You will also be getting tons of XP and get better and better rewards the more quests you do for one trader. Progression is specific to each trader, so try to stick to one for as long as possible. This is why I said you ideally want to have that trader around where you want to live. To increase your reward quality, you can also choose to spend skill points on the adventurer perk. It's also good to know that the trader does close at 2150 and opens at 405. Not a bad idea to also take a look at what they may be selling, as you might want to get some specific mods from them. Armor will be very useful, especially as you're trying to complete quests. Try to keep as much armor parts as you can and hold them until you can craft those specific pieces. Immediately in the early game, however, you can craft primitive armor, which is better than nothing and very easy to make. I still haven't gotten used to the full armor system, but once I do, I will make a guide video about that. Which, bonus tip, if you want more 7 Days to Die content as well as tips and tricks, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. Love you if you do. Now back to the video. Next tip, reading is very important in the new 1.0 version of 7 Days to Die. You should be reading every book you get, and if it is a duplicate, you still get the XP and save on the storage space. The only reason you should ever save a book is if you are playing with friends and want to designate each other to specific builds. Then maybe communicate which books you may need. There might be some that help with weapon crafting, or some that help with the vehicle crafting, or maybe even things that you need to craft those things, such as the forge and the workbenches. All require books, and basically everything advanced requires books to be able to craft them. Moving on to water. Water can be hard to come by in 7 Days to Die, so you should try to make a dew collector as soon as possible. You can unlock this crafting item by reading 2 Forge Ahead books. You can also add additional mods to the Dew Collector, which includes the Gatherer for faster water collection rate, the Tarp, which increases the storage to collect more water, and then the Water Filter to get clean water instead of the murky water. Moving on to mining, mining will become more important as you begin to need certain resources and lots of them. If you are having trouble finding specific resources, do not strip mine, especially early on or unless you have the Auger. If you do want to find those specific resources, you can find them very easily by looking at your map. You will find what is called the resource nodes. What might look like some extra detail added to the map is actually each specific resource. You'll see these little dots in different colors and they're correlated as follows. The white one is nitrate, this one is iron, this one is lead, this one is an oil deposit, and this one is coal. Travel to these nodes and you should see a piece sticking out that leads to a branch of much more underneath. You can also see more common elements such as clay and stone and sand. Just look for the change in texture on the map and go to that location. You also don't have to go out to the middle of nowhere in order to find some of these nodes. Some are located in the towns. However, the oil ones can only be found in the desert biome. If you want to increase your efficiency at harvesting resources through mining, you can upgrade 2 specific skills. They are both under the Strength tab and it is Miner 69er and Motherlode. Now for tip number 8, you need to get a wrench. This is basically as essential as mining, and will probably be even more useful in the early game. It's very possible to get lucky and find one, but if not, it can be crafted using 12 forged iron, 4 mechanical parts, and 2 duct tape. You can wrench broken workbenches to get some iron, vending machines for forged steel, gas station pumps for forged steel and fuel, streetlights is another source of steel, and if you are in the need of pipes, you can use the wrench on sinks and radiators. You can also wrench cars for many different resources, which includes the chance of battery and engines. If you do want to get higher level items for either the battery or the engine, you do need to increase your salvage level. As you are scrapping cars, you will get a different radiator which can be used to scrap for brass. Or if you just put the radiator straight into the forge, you will actually get more brass for that. If you didn't know, you lose about 20 to 30% whenever you do scrap, so it might be better to just put it straight into the forge, but if it's an issue of storage, then yes, just scrap it. If you're looking for electrical parts, you can gather those by hitting lights and TVs. Now moving on to my tips for early combat. In the early game, you basically have 3 options, the club, spear, and bow. The bow is very useful for killing zombies with cheaper material and quietly. If you can sneak up on a zombie and shoot it while it's either sleeping or idle, you will get a significant damage boost for stealth damage, allowing you to possibly take them out in one shot. The same does apply to the melee weapons, but I typically prefer to use the bow, especially when I'm trying to be stealthy. The best way to use the melee weapon is place a build block in a doorway between you and the zombie and just keep hitting the zombie at a safe distance. And if need be, you can keep repairing that block with a stone axe. Now for the final tip, my day 7 prep. There are a lot of different ways to go about day 7, but you want to build a base where the zombies are forced to funnel into one specific area so that you don't have to cover too much ground. You also ideally don't want to make your safe base your day 7 base, and instead want to have 2 separate bases. But that is just my advice. You can do whatever you want to have the most fun. If it's looking like you don't have enough time to build your own day 7 base, it may be best to use a point of interest as your starting point and just add some upgrades, but be aware you probably will get overrun. Building as much wooden spikes as you can, as well as digging holes and placing them in there, is probably your best bet, but will only last you so long. But good luck and hope you're able to survive the horde. I know for this video there was tips within the tips, but if you did find this video useful, make sure to like and let me know if you think I should do a 50 tips and tricks next, where I basically just go on and on and on about each little tip I know. I have a ton more I can list off, so let me know if that interests you by liking the video and leaving a comment. Till next time, love you, see ya.